All right, so we are back again. If you're watching this, make sure you click like and subscribe. And remember, today's episode is sponsored by 94 Dreams. All right, so we are here today with the one, the only Eleni. How are you doing?
Thanks for having me. I'm great. How are you?
I'm really good. You're actually the first one in our new podcast room. How does that feel?
Exciting.
Easy. Yeah, we like that. We like that.
Energy.
That's what it's all about today. Listen, I've got a few little games that we're going to play today, but before we even go into the games, Len, there's going to be like quite a few people that may not know you, and I want to make sure that they can get a good understanding of the incredible person that you are. So in just a few words, just let them know who you are.
Okay. I got into fitness basically when I was like 28. Got like a personal trainer, started like just trying to understand health in general for myself.
Yeah.
But the main reason of why I started when I was 18 was because I developed a really bad habit of like an eating disorder. So I wanted to kind of get out of that. So fitness for me, that's how it started. And then my journey was like 9 years to recovery of that, where I started to get my own coach towards the end of that and realized the impact that she made on my journey, which then got me to be like, if I can do that for one person, like how amazing would that be to kind of give back? And then, yeah, I went into like my own coaching business to help women basically with their nutrition, with their mindset, with their fitness, and just overall help them develop a better, a more positive relationship around food, stress, and training and moving their body.
I think that's really good. Really, really good. Such a massive journey you've been on, really, then, isn't it? You don't really hear people going to that much experience, then go into fitness. Like, it seems like you had your own personal journey that went on more than bigger than most people. Like, most people would be like, okay, I'm overweight. Now I'm going to lose a little bit of weight, and then they're going to go and inspire more people. It seems like for you did like the whole journey. And
Yeah.
so did you know when you had bulimia, did you know at that point you want to help people?
No, I was too busy trying to help myself selfishly. So my career was in hospitality, and so like me being a coach wasn't even the thought process. It was, I just want to go back to being normal, not being over obsessed about calories, not overthinking training, not feel like I have to train every day. Like, it was just this vicious cycle that I was in that I needed to get out of. It was more so 2 years before I actually became a coach that I realized I wanted to be a coach, but I didn't want to be a fraudster in a way or feel imposter. I was like, I have to be okay to be able to give, because as a coach, as you know, we deal with more than just saying train this and eat this. We deal a lot with the impacts that they have in their life to help them do better, which is where the mindset comes into it. So I was like, if I go into coaching, even though that's really what I want to do, I just won't survive, because it would do more detriment to me. So I had to be 100% recovered and good with myself to then be able to give. It's one of those things where like you can't pour into someone else's cup if you don't have a full cup. It was a bit like that.
Massive.
Yeah.
It's, you really speak about the mindset in it, and something that I speak with my clients about. Like, there's no point you doing all of the hard work but not actually working on your mind, because when something goes wrong, you're just going to go back into the comfortable position, which is, I'm now not going to train. I'm now not going to track my food. So working on that mind and establishing a clear understanding of where you want to be, not just the way you look, but also where you want your mind to be, plays a massive, massive effect into, will they sustain that, or will it be a temporary thing?
Literally, this is where like when we talk about mindset, I think there's a misconception where people think, oh, I need to wait until I'm ready. And it's not about waiting until you're ready. When I talk about mindset, it's about understanding what your thought processes are, what your patterns are, and what your habits are, because that's all habitual in the mind. Like, you're doing something often where it's an impulse and there's no thought process behind it, because you've just developed that habit. A little bit like me with my bulimia. It was a habit of, I'm stressed, how do I handle it? And unfortunately, my habit was binging and purging, whereas I had to change that habit, which is why I'm quite big on mindset, which I think doesn't really sell, which is what I was told working through with different business coaches. They're like, oh, mindset doesn't sell. I'm like, yeah, it might not sound appealing to the consumer, but it really is mindset that is the game changer.
Now that we speak on mindset, obviously going into, well, we're actually in November. How mad is that?
Yeah, it's gone like
That
that.
is crazy, isn't it?
I know.
Don't you think, like, I literally can remember January and now it's November. How crazy is that? But when we speak about mindset, the normal typical mindset about this time of year is, when it comes to health and fitness, I just start in the new year. Like, what's your view on that? People saying that they will start their health and fitness in the new year, like.
Okay, I get it. It's a way to delay something from happening, and that's easier than making something happen. And by delaying it, you feel better about it because you're telling yourself, oh, I'm going to start in January. So you're giving yourself an excuse to, like, you're giving yourself like a pass or an excuse for the things that you're doing now. But by delaying it, all that you're doing is you're making it worse for yourself for when you do start.
But the thing about it is, this time of year, like, it's cold, Christmas is coming. I kind of get the fact of starting in the new year. Like, for example, my birthday's in a few weeks. Like, the gym is going to be a lot more quiet. I hear that. But there's going to be a lot more outings. So for me, as I said, I kind of lean more now towards people just starting in the new year. What's your view about it?
Okay, I've got a few things here, but let me start with this one. Would you agree that if you're going to start a journey towards fitness, that one, there's no end journey to it. It's a constant progression in our lives, right? Would you agree?
Yeah, I would agree.
So with that, would you not advise someone to say, when you're starting a new fitness journey, it's better off that you start gradually, right? So would it not be smart that even if you started with the simplest of things of, right, this week I'm just going to start drinking 2 litres of water a day. And then next week I'm going to start making it a habit of walking every morning. It doesn't have to be X amount of steps a day. It could be, I'm just going to start with a 20-minute walk to start my day before I go to work or on my lunch breaks. And then the next week, now that I've picked those 2 habits up, so now I'm drinking 2 litres of water, now I'm getting a morning walk in. The week after, I'm going to start, I don't know, I've noticed that I'm snacking when I'm watching TV on the night. So I'm going to distract myself and do something a bit more productive so that I feel better about myself. So now that's habit changing. They're all actually habit changing. So would you agree that that would make more sense, irregardless if it's cold and I've got all these events happening? Wouldn't you say that that's something that you could start now that isn't going to impact those events, but is going to set you up to win leading up to the new year?
I agree with that, but I also understand that this time of year, people are going to be bringing in chocolates more to work. I understand that this time of year that my family want to see me a little bit more. Like, there's quite a lot of social activities that happen this time of year for me to actually lean. Not saying it's the right answer, but I do see where people come from when they say start in the new year. So, but I hear what you're saying, that you can actually solve a lot of things before you even need to get in the gym, before the new year. Like, I do agree with that. But I do think that it's a little bit more complicated this time of year to start in that health and fitness.
It is a little bit more complicated, but you're always going to find excuses.
That's true.
So it's a bit more complicated now because we've got Christmas events or a bit more outings, or it's cold. So it's, the ethos or the culture is more like, let's just order in or whatever. But there's always going to be something. So then next thing you know, it's Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, Father's Day, it's Easter, then it's summer, we've got holidays. Like there's always going to be an excuse, someone's birthday, someone's something. The thing is, and I'm sure you'll agree with coaching, it's not about, we want you to have 0 events and nothing happening for the next 3 months so we can get you these results. The way that I coach, it's about learning how to incorporate these new habits within your lifestyle, because that's how you sustain them long term. It's not about clearing up the calendar for the next 3 months so you can just focus on this.
Yeah, that's a very smart way to look at it. Now, one thing that I have noticed over the years is anybody who has started this time of year have gone on to do incredible results. Mm-hmm. Because, as I said, this is I believe the most challenging time of the year, because people want to see you more. People want to bring you more gifts. Let's see if you got friends. So when it comes to the snacking element of it, you know, this seasonal time of the year is just more challenging. But if you can get through those challenges and you can start on your health and fitness, then you will go on to do great things.
Yeah, there's a mindset around it, right? Someone who comes from working in an office space where, you know, everyone's, or it's always someone's birthday or someone's baked something, or it's some charity event, or like I worked in an events office, so like we always had clients bringing us gifts in. And the thing is you can say no. And I think a lot of us just, it's a bit of like FOMO, like everyone else is eating it, I should. And it's that whole impulse action and not taking a step back and thinking.
Massive.
So something that I say to my clients, which is something that helped me, is I call it like sequence questions. And I've taught them, and I continue to teach them, to stop and ask themselves questions. And this is where, when you learn this, for me, it transpires in your life, because as it did for me, where you just take a step back and you're like, hold on a minute, like, does it serve me? How will I feel after I have it? Do I need it? You know, how am I going to feel when it comes to my check-in? How am I going to feel when I stand on the scales? Like, does this serve the future version of me? And the answer is okay if it's, do you know what, I want it. Like, that's okay. It's not about over-restricting yourself. But the important thing is that you take a step back and you're like, hold on, is this what I want? Because often it's just impulse. Like, I've worked with clients and continue to work with them who are like, oh, you know, I was on the phone and there were just snacks out and I ate them, I didn't think about it, and then after they feel guilty, and that starts a trigger sequence where they overdo it. So it's just those cases where something simple like that, like a little exercise like that of just implementing that, might prevent you from over consuming calories during this period, which you can then take on with you.
But
Do you know what I mean?
what is a chance? Like, we've coached quite a lot of people.
Yeah.
What is the chance of somebody brand new to the gym who is overweight, who has got anxiety, who feeling low? What are the chance of somebody in that position using that sequence to begin with at this time of year? Would you say it's high or would you say it's low?
It all depends on how bad they want it. If you're someone who's waking up and you firstly, you've got no energy, you're constantly low mood, you're struggling to find clothes to wear or feel good in clothes. Like, we could go even as deeper as, like, you're a single person who's struggling to even talk to someone if you fancy them, or struggling to feel like you've got any self-worth, where it could get in the way of, like, getting that promotion at work or going out with your friends, or you have anxiety eating out, or there's all sorts of things. Like, me personally, when I was recovering, there was nothing more important than peace up here and me feeling great about myself, because this is where I've got to live for the rest of my life. And I was sick of waking up and being consumed with these thoughts about calories and food and training. Like, I just want to live with freeness, like freedom in my head. So for me, it was that important. So someone who's overweight, who is on the verge of health problems or has joint pain and all, like, you know, if it's important to you, then
So that level of importance, in it,
like, standard.
Yeah, and this is where it comes down to the coach again, because if the coach cannot push that trust element into the client, then it's not going to happen.
Yeah, I think when it comes to coaching, from my experience, you have to meet the client. I don't even want to say halfway, like, but you have to meet them where they're at. So I've got some girls, I only work with girls, but I've got some girls that are like, they want to go full throttle, and it's my job to identify if that's just the quick, like,
emotional reaction.
Just like, in the beginning you're really motivated and you want to do everything, but it's my job is to identify if that is
sustainable.
And I'm like, okay, hold on, we'll get there, but let's start like this, because otherwise what happens, and this I learned this real quick in coaching, is like, if I cater to everything they want, it's like they'll burn quick and then they'll lose motivation and they're like, I can't do this. Like, the first little bit of a slip up and they think they can't do it. So it's like, as a coach, I think it's our job to kind of educate them on why we might need to slow it down or why we can go at their pace. And it's making sure basically that they see regular wins to keep them motivated and keep moving forwards. And that's something where if you don't have a coach, it's really hard to see those wins, because you get so emotionally attached to the scales, which we both know is just one metric out of so many. So, like, no,
that's clear. I feel like you hit the nail on the head. I think, as I said, when it comes down to this element of the time of year and we're looking at the choices that people have faced, if you do have a very good coach this time of year, you're going to do really well.
You're gonna do better than if you didn't have a coach.
Yeah.
And if I just think, when people are like, oh, I don't know, it's X amount of money, I don't know if I want to invest it. And I'm just like, but I've had girls that turn around and say, like, the money I've invested, I'll do it twice over, because the transformation that they've had is just so incredible that you almost can't put a price on it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's, you get life-changing results. And these are things that you don't necessarily learn by yourself as quickly as you would with a coach. So,
Len, what would you say are 3 benefits from clients starting now, this time of year? Like, what 3 things do you think?
To get ahead of 2025 by starting now, if you think about, we've got around about 1 to 2 months, depending on when this gets shared. The benefits for me are super clear. So firstly, hands down, you're getting ahead of 2025. And by starting now, where we touched on mindset, if you start now, you're developing a better mindset for January. Whereas if you start in January, your attitude leading up to that is going to be like more relaxed. So you're going to be like, oh, screw it, I'll start in January. I'm going to have, and you'll end up eating more because you're like, oh, I'm starting in January, which is why I said earlier about you giving yourself the pass. Whereas if you start now and you start small, you're just going to put yourself in a better position for January.
Ahead of the game, innit?
Ahead of the game. Another one, so ahead of so basically putting yourself in a better position for January. Another one could be that you're going to be in a better mind frame come Jan, rather than, when you put that pressure on yourself, so it's like the 1st of Jan, you feel like, oh my God, I've now got to get everything done. And then this is where a lot of people go wrong, is when they go from 0 to 100.
Oh, yeah.
So come January, you're going to be that person going from 0 to 100 and crashing.
It.
Yeah, you'll crash week 1, 2, 3. I'll give you till February, but you're going to crash.
Yeah.
Exactly. I was just being nice.
Yeah.
But it's like, if you start then, you're just going to develop that kind of mindset of like 0 to 100
every single time.
Yeah, you
Something
won't
goes
start
wrong,
small.
0 to 100.
So it's like kind of like removing that pressure from yourself. And then another one, I guess, is just being ahead of everyone else. Like, just knowing that you're in a better position. Actually, not of everyone else, being ahead of your own self.
Yeah.
So it's like, I've already beat the version of me that I thought I was going to be in Jan.
Massive.
I'm already ahead of that.
Already ahead of that.
And so it's like you versus you. So I think that's quite a nice little feeling.
Empowering, that is, isn't it? Knowing that, like, I can see it now, like, you have 2 choices in it. You either do it or you don't do it. But regardless, 2025 is going to come. How you enter into that, but that's up to you. The choices that you make today or the choices you don't make today will follow you moving forward. So I agree with that. Len, as we enter into 2025, like we know that there's going to be quite a lot of new people that start the gym.
Yeah.
Quite a lot of new people who are on this health kick.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say is imperative for them to do?
Set a goal.
Why is setting a goal so important?
Because it's like, if you have a goal, you then can reverse engineer to what you need to do. So like, for example, coming out of bodybuilding, I'm now like going through the motions, doing what I need to do, like ticking my non-negotiables. But next year I want to do a high rocks. So it's like, I know I'll probably set it before January, but if I've set that date, I then know when I need to start implementing my high rocks training and how that's going to look leading to that date, so that then I've got a plan and also something to work towards, because I'm very goal orientated, and if I don't have something to work towards, then it's like, I'm gonna eat that, why not, like, what's my goal? Do you know what I mean? I haven't got anything like steering me on track. So by setting goals, it just kind of helps keep that motivation alive, and it gives you a reason behind what you're doing. So
and when you speak about these goals, is it one big goal or is it?
Could be anything. It could be, and again, I think this is where people get lost in like feeling like it has to be something massive. It could be a small goal of like, and fitness related now, but it could be like, I want to be able to, like when I first started the gym, my goal was to be able to walk to uni and not be out of breath.
Massive.
Like, do you know what I mean? I used
Massive.
to be on the phone calling people, and I'd be out of breath walking to uni, and I was like, I want to start the gym so I can work on my stamina. But it could, like, I want to be able to have a routine where I'm doing 10k steps a day.
Yeah.
I want to be able to have a routine where I'm not stressing on the weekends when I eat
Yeah.
out. I want to have a routine where I want to do a photo shoot. It could be anything from as small to as big, whatever you want it. And the beauty is, whatever you set, you can change as well. Be flexible with that. You know, maybe you don't want to do it anymore. Like, I had a 3-year goal leading up to a bodybuilding competition this year, and 11 weeks out or whatever it was, I pulled out because I just wasn't happy. And I was like, a lot of people were saying, but you've given 3 years towards this goal. I'm like, yeah, cool. I still reap all the benefits, but I just don't want to see the next 11 weeks out and do it. I just don't want to anymore. And that's okay. And I think we can put this pressure on ourselves where we feel like failures if we just decide that we change our course. And ultimately, like, you evolve as a person, and it's okay to change the goalpost.
Yeah.
And maybe make it bigger or make it smaller. And I think it's adding that flexibility in it as well. But essentially, setting the goal just helps give you that clear path on where you're heading. Otherwise, you're driving and not going not know where you're going.
So Len, when we think about Christmas Day, like, I've had this for years. People have come up to me and saying, Sam, on Christmas Day, what should I do? Lenny, what should these people do on Christmas Day?
That's crazy. I used to be that person. So Christmas Day is one day out of 365 days of the year. So that one day really, really doesn't matter. And my advice is, like, enjoy it. But let's put it this way, right? I'm going to do a little bit of a maths.
Easy. Mathematical
a
teacher and that,
bit
yeah?
of a maths on you.
What you get it wrong in that?
No, probably. So, okay, on average, we're eating 4 meals a day.
Okay.
Yeah? So let's just say December's got 30 days because I can't deal with how many it's 31, isn't it?
I don't know. There's a little thing in school.
It's 31. Why are you shaking your head? It's 31. Okay, let's just say 30 days just for ease. So 30 days times the 4 meals that you're going to have. So in December...
120 meals.
Well done.
Didn't even need... Listen.
Yeah, all right,
man
cool.
Didn't need it.
So my point is, one meal in the day, like that one meal you're going to have that day...
Yeah.
Or even the one day out of the 30, it really isn't going to make that much of an impact. Do you see what I mean? So what I'm trying to say is, we overstress ourselves off of that one day, but if we manage the rest of the days, that one day won't even matter.
100%. Can we just drop the mic there? Okay, I like that. I like that analogy. But then you've got Boxing Day. And then you've got New Year's Eve.
You just ate that food on Christmas Day. You really want to eat the dry
Listen,
chicken, the dry
we
turkey.
both know. Listen, the way that Christmas works for me is I'm going to go pull up on a couple of people's yards, eat all their food. Then you see Boxing Day, I'm going to pull up on people's yards that I haven't pulled up on a Christmas Day. So I'm getting, you see how you talk about 4 meals a day? I'm going to get at least 5. 5 on Boxing Day, 5 on Christmas Day.
You ain't on a weight loss journey though.
That is a very good point.
Right, but no, on a serious note though. Okay, so Christmas Day, you're not eating 4 meals. Like, you're probably having a little something for breakfast.
Are we classing mince pies as a meal or not?
No, that's like a snack. But mince pies, so I did this thing last year with my team, and we did this group call, and it was live, and I was like, right, girls, how many calories are in the mince pie? Guess. And they all, like, put their guesstimations in, and they were all off. And then it was like, how much do you reckon's in this cheese? And they guessed, they were all off. So what we were doing there was helping them understand the calories behind the foods that they're eating, because if you can understand that, you'll just understand the calorie consumption and how to manage the day accordingly. And also you start to think, is it worth it? Do you know what I mean? And you start to pick and choose what you really want to eat rather than just eating for the sake of it because it's Christmas and it's in front of you, and why not? Because diet starts January. Like, you shift that mindset. Yeah. Do you see what I mean? Is that how I'm referring back to previous topics? So with Christmas Day, the way that I advise to approach it is, 1, forget about weight loss on that day. Please just enjoy the day. Like, it's about creating memories with family. 2, shift the perspective from just being about food to being about everything else. Like, it's a fact that we're celebrating Christmas, we're with our family, we're creating memories. Like, there's other things that you can focus on other than the food, because if you're food focused, you're going to overconsume standard, and you're not even going to enjoy it because you're going to feel guilty about it. Another thing I'd say is go and be active. Like, I love going for walks on Christmas morning. Like, I wake up, I have my breakfast, I open my presents for my family, and then it's like, while dinner's cooking, because normally I'm not the one doing it, I like, and I know there's loads of people out there, but I'm the one cooking it, I'm stuck in the kitchen. But you can still find time, whether it's even on the evening or whatever.
Go walk up in
But
those steps.
I just love, like, well, I love being with nature. So, like, I love going for a walk Christmas Day. And then if you think about the meal that you're having, it's like, just have one plate and just allow yourself to enjoy whatever you're going to eat. Like, don't feel like you can't eat the carbs because you might put weight on. Like, none of that, just enjoy it. And then with dessert, it's like, instead of having everything, just pick one dessert that you're going to have. So it's like Boxing Day now. The way that I would do it is, and the way I advise is, like, have parts of the day that's to plan, like, still stick to certain non-negotiables. Maybe you want to go gym and put all the Christmas calories to good use, because food is fuel at the end of the day. Maybe you still want to go for a walk. You can still hit your hydration, your steps, you can still do all of that, but then allow yourself to have that one meal. And I normally say this, Christmas Eve and Boxing Day, have one meal out of the daily meals as like a flexible meal, or like an off plan, whatever you want to call it. Have it as that, so you've still got that flexibility, you're not over restricted, but you're having that balance as well. So does that suit what you want to be able to do?
It's really good. The reality is very simple, in it. Like, you coming off plan on that day doesn't really actually matter, because if your goal is the bigger picture, you know, as you spoke about, if there's 30 days instead of a month, what is one day? And if you really want to be very meticulous with it, reduce your calories before it, reduce your calories after it. You catch up.
Yeah, like leading up to, so say that week of Christmas leading up to it, you could pull back a bit to, they say, like, bank calories for that meal, which is another strategy. Like, there's loads of strategies you can do, but ultimately it's just one day.
It's just one day.
Yeah, and I just think, be mindful. Like, don't eat for the sake of eating, but if you want it, have it. Like, it's Christmas Day.
I like what you said though. Like, Christmas is more than just the food, and remembering that is everything. Because it's often time that people push Christmas and they say Christmas food. Well, what about the fact that you're seeing your whole family? Like, in the wild world that we live in right now, the fact that we can wake up on Christmas and be around people that love us, that there is what we should celebrate. Not the fact that there's Christmas pudding. That's a byproduct.
That's where it then comes back down to mindset.
Yeah.
Like, if your mindset and your focus and your perspective, whatever you want to call it, is all about food, you're going to just be food focused for the whole day.
I agree.
If your mindset is like taking a step back and being grateful, you're not only shifting the focus from food to everything else, but you are also having a sense of gratitude and just, again, shifting the mindset onto something else. And that's another kind of, like, practice that I did when I was kind of coming into, like, my fitness journey of, like, shifting the focus and the perspective. And it helped me massively.
Massive, that is. So, Lynn, as we close down this podcast, you know, I spoke to you off camera as well, and I spoke to you about the fact that we want to get you on here multiple times, because I see so much value in you as a coach. And you know, this platform is here to help people be educated, for people to just find it and take things away, because we both know that in this fitness thing that we both work in, that there is so much nonsense that are out there. And not only is there nonsense, there are a lot of people who just aren't passionate about what they do. But you're passionate, I'm passionate, and we need to push this.
It's not even just about passion. I think, like, I don't know if you said it on camera or off camera, but you said, like, the journey that I've been through to get to where I am, to be able to be in a position that I feel like is credible to be able to coach women and be in that position. Do you see what I mean? And I think there's a lot of people that I've even seen where they'll do, I don't know, they lose a bit of weight and then now all of a sudden they want to be a coach. And I'm just like, really? Like, how can... I don't want to go into... Anyway, you know what I'm trying to say. It's just like...
I hear what you're trying to say.
There's a lot out there, you're right. But I also think it's... One, as a consumer or as a client, it's sieving through the nonsense and finding the actual people that get actual results. And two, it's a strategy that works for you. Like, the way that I coach might not work for some people. And that's not to say my methods or your methods are wrong. It's just... There are certain, even coaching styles, like the coach that you hire, the way that they talk to you, their whole ethos, what they stand for, how they've structured meal plans, training, all of the whole
There's
thing.
a lot.
Yeah, it's got to like work for them as well. So I think there's a lot to it. Did I go off track?
No, you're fine. And this is as we close out this bit, I stand here as an advocate for helping people, and so do you. So that's my job, and I do that through fitness. You do that through fitness. Then there's going to be people that watch this that want to know how they can find you. Like, what platforms are you on?
Mainly Instagram. So it's coach_EOC for Eleni Online Coaching. And I just want to touch on there where you said, like, it's my job. Like, yeah, my heart lives and breathes this. Like, there's nothing else I'd rather do than what I'm doing right now. And I think there's nothing more rewarding than seeing when someone's winning, again, as however small it is. Like we choose to do this. We don't have to do this, and we choose it because it's our passion. So it's way more than just a job.